All right, I got something interesting for you today. BMW i4 M50. It's fun, it's fast, and I'm not really sure what to make of it. Horrible range hit, parasitic range loss at night. This does not have the range or the charging speed, in my opinion, to make it a car that you can really road trip smoothly. Handles better than the last generation Model 3 by a long shot, but then I get here and I get to do this. Like and subscribe so you can see more, because I got a lot more videos coming down the pike, but let's get into this thing. So, it feels like a BMW, drives like a BMW, it does what a BMW would, because that's not particularly what I'm after, but it may be what you want. And so I'm gonna go through everything you need to know today. We're gonna talk charging, we're gonna talk practicality, we're gonna talk performance, we're gonna talk handling, we're gonna talk brakes, we're gonna talk about some things that really drive me completely insane. We're gonna talk about how this thing feels just day to day, what it's like to use, everything you need to know to make the right decision about whether this is the car for you. So this, to me, it is a BMW interior. People like the dual screens, they don't like the dual screens, but I mean, you know what? These two screens are not bad. They work out nicely. You know, the widgets here, all of this goes, you can swipe between stuff, you can immediately pop into your car. It has Apple CarPlay, which is great. It has a nice big screen. This is really expansive. This actually is one of my favorite CarPlays in a while, because go right in, you can go ahead and use it. It's easy to start getting around, go ahead and check what you need to see. Some people really don't like the lack of physical buttons. I mean, you got a volume button, though I have to say I have not touched this once in my entire time driving this. It has regular old vents that you go ahead and move about. So, I mean, it's there. Climate does come up. I don't like the fact that it does not remember your settings here for seat heating and cooling. That's a little aggravating. Like if it's cold outside, you get in the car, you have to turn it on. It's little things, little touches like that. And also here, the dash has maps built directly in. If you have a route running, it shows you the route directly on here too. Makes it pretty easy. You know, I'm not a fan of the smooth leather. I really do wish this was texture. This kind of feels a little weird to me. I really dislike the BMW gear stock. So there's a bunch of things in here that are, to me, not my thing, but that's me. Most people that are used to BMW are gonna sit right in here and they're gonna be at home. They're gonna know exactly what they're dealing with. And I think that's exactly what BMW needed to go with here. This is not a bespoke EV platform. This is a car that's been adapted for an EV. It's got the hatchback back there. So this is, you know, again, like a liftgate. It's not quite a 3 Series. It's not a 4 Series. It's kind of in between. But this is what they needed to make. They needed to make something for BMW drivers, that a BMW driver could get in here and go, I'm at home. Everything's familiar. The whole experience of the BMW is pretty much exactly what you would expect if you were a BMW driver. The seats on this, they're fine. I think the seats, they work. To me, I'm kind of okay with them. I do wish that the bottoms of the seats were just a little bit wider. I am a big guy, so that's the thing I kind of wish was different. But again, I'm in a small mid sedan. What do I expect here? I don't expect that. Another thing about it too is that the headroom's fine. You got the moonroof up here, which does look nice, opens. Let's go ahead and pop that. You know, you get the glass, you get everything that you need here. It's nice. It's a good car and it works. You know, back seats as well. Let's talk about those for a minute. I have the front seat in my driving position and I cannot fit back here for the life of me. I am 6'3". There's no room back here if you're a big guy and you're driving. To be expected. There are some other problems back here too. I don't know if you can see it, but there is the tunnel down here. You know, this is the challenge when you're not using a bespoke EV platform. You lose a lot of the amazing advantages of that platform and what it gives you. Like, for example, far better rear legroom, better packaging, pushing the wheels further out to the corners because you're not constrained by previous drivetrain systems, better suspension geometry. All these things are available to you on a bespoke EV platform. They're not present here. But most BMW drivers, they're used to a 3 Series, are simply not going to care. They're going to get in this and go, yep, this is exactly what I expected. This is the back seat I'm familiar with. Again, like, we're not dealing with anything that has to be something super special here. We're dealing with a car that has to do a job, and it does that job admirably. So let's get to storage. So it's there, it works. It's decent storage space. You get a bunch of other stuff in here. You do get some room underneath here for additional storage. Again, like, you know, the subwoofer right in here. And the stereo actually is not bad, I have to say. I wish it had better clarity in terms of treble and everything else, but the sub is good. So you get a little bit of extra storage space. You can put a maybe hide like a little bag there, something like that. It's there. It is nice having the liftback. I think in the smaller form factor of like a sedan, like a 3 Series, you know, the i4, the Model Y, I think that actually the liftback is a better idea. I think the Model 3's entrance is a little bit just annoyingly small, and it still functions, it's still got the space, but this does make it a bit more practical. You can find it much easier to get a suitcase out of here, much easier to put larger items in here, so it works more easily. So front passenger seat in this, it's got decent legroom. I have plenty here for my knees. I can get around. You know, we've got glove box up here. You got your normal storage. This does have Tesla Supercharger access now, so you can use that adapter. You know, it's there. And overall, in terms of space in this spot, fairly comfortable. I actually have a little bit more legroom than the driver's side, so this seat is actually a little bit more scooched forward, gave more room in the back. Again, fairly comfortable. One thing I did notice is that, I don't know why, the passenger side, this pillar is a little closer to my head, and if I sit up, it was kind of like close. I actually clocked my head once, just minor things. So that's the interior of the car. Let's talk a little bit about driving. So what is this like to drive every day? Well, this is the first car I've reviewed in some time that I wasn't excited to get out and go drive. But that's not a diss on this car at all. Actually, it's a different flavor of EV. Like I talked about earlier, this is a car built on an internal combustion platform, but electrified. And BMW did, I think, about the best they could be expected to have done. They made a car that has a lot of good EV traits, has a lot of the things that are needed, but doesn't necessarily do everything perfectly because it doesn't need to. What it needs to do is it needs to be a car that BMW drivers can drive and feel at home in. And I think it does a very good job of exactly that. And frankly, I enjoy it for that. It's got a lot of acceleration. Not crazy amounts, but it has a fairly good amount. It has great turn in. It has great follow through on a turn. The regen on this, I do think the regen could be stronger and better sorted. I'm just gonna say that. I think that this car definitely could use that, but it still works just fine. So let's talk acceleration for a minute on this. Acceleration's strong. It does have a lot to give, and when you push it hard, it's definitely gonna get that for you. Put it in sport mode, give it the beans, and it does rocket forward. It is a surprisingly fast car for what you get for the money. The more I drive it, the more I feel like they nailed the BMW feel in a really amazing way. And again, that's not for everybody, but boy, for some it's there. And here I am carving down these little roads, and I'm having fun. I'm having fun in a car that when I got in this at first, I thought I was gonna hate it. And some things about it I do kind of hate. I'm just gonna be blunt. There are some things about this that I dislike intensely. I hate how low that lift gate is. I keep hitting my head on it. I hit my head on it after I finished filming, was going back to get my camera equipment out of the back and rig up in here to do this part of the video. I clocked my head on it again. I hate that, but then I get here and I get to do this. Yeah, that's what this thing is about. It's about that. It's not about perfect practicality. It's not about doing everything that a large sedan should do, like the Lucid Air does, doing it all incredibly. This is about being that small package, very, very well refined and very well designed. And frankly, when you get some time, you get to have some fun with it. It does some things poorly. Charging's terrible in my opinion. I think you could do far, far better, but you know, range also could be vastly better. But then you get here and you punch it up a road, tap the brakes, turn in, steering's great. I mean, really great steering on this. It is weightier than I like. I like a steering that's a little bit lighter, a little bit more communicative, but I'm not even looking ahead of me to see where the road is. I'm looking way down the road because the steering's predictable enough that I know where I'm going. I think that's another advantage of how they combine platforms. They didn't have to re-engineer here. They didn't have to start with a blank slate and do everything perfectly. They had something that worked, they put it in here, they adapted, and it did well. So let's talk weight distribution for a minute. Could be better. I can tell that the batteries are in different places. So let's say in this turn, I can feel the weight of that battery in the back, pulling the rear a little bit. You know, and also a little bit in the front. Is it gonna drag the experience? No, it's not. It's not gonna take this experience and make it bad. It's just, I think that this car has 75% of what it needs to be a great EV. I mean, when the competition is, you know, Tesla Model 3 performance in this price bracket, that's impressive. That's not an easy thing to do. So I think if you're in a gas car right now, especially a gas sports car, and that's gonna cover most of the Germans. So we're talking a C series, a C-Class AMG, we're talking a 3 series, we're talking, you know, S4, RS4, any of the like. You're gonna get in this and feel something really nice. It's gonna be familiar, gonna be easy to understand. I think that what you will notice that might put you off in this car is there is a lack of some of the feedback that you are expecting. So one thing is motor noise. Okay, I was a dyed-in-the-wool petrol head for a long time. I was gonna get an E63 AMG wagon. Unfortunately, that was right during the supply chain crisis, and that did not happen because they all got super expensive. Then Mercedes stopped actually making the twin-turbo V8. So I never got one of those, and I ended up getting the Lucid Air. Don't regret it at all. Love my Lucid. Absolutely fantastic car. Total banger. But one thing that Lucid did really, really well is they nailed motor noise. You get feedback from the motor noise in a Lucid. Rivian also does this too. So you have an understanding of what the vehicle is doing in terms of power and power delivery. When you push it, you hear it. You don't in this. But you can turn on the sports sound, and when you have it on, you do get some of the feedback. It's not the same as a gas engine, and the noise that the engine gives you in a gas car that tells you how much power you have applied, how much speed you're carrying, what gear you're in, all those things. So there is some feedback that's missing. Let's talk driving comfort for a minute in this. So you're not always gonna go blasting down a B road in this and hauling ass through turns. What is it like? I think the M Sport side of this is a little much for most drivers. If you really want a fast car, you want to have fun, you want to enjoy it, this is going to do a good job. But when you back off and you put it in comfort mode, it's more sprung than you're probably going to want. So if you're not buying this for the performance, then don't get the M Sport variant. Instead, go with one of the regular flavors, because you're going to get a car then that is, I feel, more sorted, more comfortable, a bit more refined. We should talk range and charging for a bit. Range on this is, on the M Sport variant, terrible. I think if you're driving this for road trips, definitely don't get the M Sport variant. Like, you really have to want the performance for the sacrifice in real world range. This, on a good charge in the battery, is maybe getting 180 miles in sport mode if you're lucky. Put it into regular mode, it'll say 277, 300-ish, you're not going to get that either. The real world range in this is significantly different than what is quoted. And I think that is an issue with the BMW side of things. Now, I do want to be fair. They have made improvements, and some people have had very different experiences, and I do know that. This car, I was ready to pan its battery because I had a horrible range hit, parasitic range loss at night when I left the car in my driveway and it was cold outside. I'm not even kidding, it lost 110 miles of range, but that is probably an issue with this range calculation and the temperature of the battery, and not an actual issue with the car. One thing that I do enjoy about driving this is when I want to go ahead and relax, the auto steer and the cruise control, actually really well done. So let's go take a look at that. So on the freeway in this, quite comfortable, even in the M Sport variant. And I have to say, it's impressive how well sorted this is on the freeway. So let's just go ahead and pop it in cruise for a minute, the drive assist, and go. BMW, well done. But the auto steer does really well. It does a great job of maintaining distance. It's very, very smooth. It's capacitive. All I have to do is touch the wheel and it goes ahead and operates. overall, this is a great package, which a lot of other car makers, frankly, could learn from. It doesn't have auto lane change, but then once I go ahead and get in the lane, it will go ahead and resume. And after resuming, it's back to just touching the wheel and it does its thing. And as you can see from the car in front of me, it does a great job of maintaining distance. It does a better job of gauging the distance of the vehicle in front than like Tesla does right now. So it's a little bit smoother to react. I know that Tesla's improved immensely, and I am looking forward to the video I'm shooting next week with the Model Y with full self-driving. So that's coming down the pike. But the BMW does a great job of maintaining distance smoothly. It is very confidence-inspiring as an ADAS. The rest of the highway experience has also been very pleasant. The car maintains its position very well. I find it easier to keep this in the center of the lane too, because the way that the mirrors are laid out and the way that your sight lines work in this, you find yourself naturally flowing to the center of the lane. And I don't know how BMW did that, but I find it really interesting. And I do that in a way that I haven't found with most other cars. Another thing that I do enjoy about driving this on the freeway is the road noise is pretty darn good, even with the larger wheels and the lower profile tires on rougher roads. And it does a great job of soaking up imperfections of the pavement, even in the M Sport variant. So you can go over rough road with construction, no issues, you're going to be generally pretty fine. There is one thing though that this does that I find fairly frustrating, is it has this bad habit of following things that look like lane markers, getting confused, and then throwing its hands in the air and saying, "Take over, please." It does that. And it's happened a number of times in construction zones and other places, and it doesn't trip up other cars. So the Rivian, for example, has no issues with that. The Lucid has pretty much no issues with that. Tesla's come so far, it's kind of crazy how good it is now, even just off of cameras, though it can get confused too at times. So as we go over different lane markings, there we go, it happened again. You know, it will start to kind of pull and then be like, "Nope, take over, please." It could be worse. There's definitely worse offenders than this one, but it's a thing you really should be aware of when you're driving it. So what have I felt after driving this for the last couple days? Well, I felt that what BMW's done is made a really compelling package here for people converting. And especially for people converting that are used to German sedans and want the German sedan experience. So what do I mean by that? It has the feel inside of a German sports sedan. You know, you get in this and you know exactly how it's going to function. Like I talked about in practicality in the interior, you sit in here, you know a Beamer, you know where you are in here. But it also responds like a BMW, like really good turn in, good acceleration. It moves hard. When you go ahead and push out of a turn, it's very predictable. It has what you hope it would have, which is a nice, solid wave of acceleration. Like this feels like BMW's straight six, the twin turbos, and the regular straight sixes do. There's not a shock in terms of acceleration. It's not jarring. It's not neck snapping or anything like that. It is boom, go. It's that feel that you would get out of a straight six in a classic Beamer, and suddenly here it is. The more I drive it, the more I feel like they nailed the BMW feel in a really amazing way. So let's talk purchasing. If you're gonna get one of these, which one should you get? Most people should get the regular vanilla i4. Don't even worry about the higher performance. Even the base models of this are nice to drive. Do get some better options. The better seats with ventilation and heating are great. Get the best range that you can get. Really, that's going to be the smallest wheels and the largest sidewall tires. That's going to give you the best range on it. You do need it in this car. If you want a road trip, make sure that you get the max range variant, because this does not have the range or the charging speed, in my opinion, to make it a car that you can really road trip smoothly. Even though it does have Tesla supercharger access, it's still a problem, and it's something you should be aware of. If you want performance, we'll absolutely get the M Sport, but you're going to stop a lot when you're road tripping. And if you're ripping it down a back road, you're not going to be ripping it for very long, but you're going to smile the entire time. The other thing too is I do think this looks better in darker colors. The kidney grille on the front, it really stands out. It's big and chonky. you know, you gotta like it if you're gonna get it in a lighter color. I'm gonna show you one other thing that I absolutely intensely dislike in this vehicle. So when you're going up a slope and you have it in the one pedal drive mode and you go up and then you slow down because you want to stop at a spot, it does a terrible job of the brake hold and it's really jerky. And when you're really slow speed, it doesn't know how to stop you smoothly. It's a surprisingly unrefined part of the experience, which I find kind of mind-bending for a BMW. So knowing all this, where do we end it? What is this car? I know I've said it a bunch. This is a great car if you're coming from a BMW. If you're a person who likes sports cars, you're gonna have fun with this. If you are looking for a dyed-in-the-wool EV, this is probably not it for you, but you should drive this still. Have this as a point of comparison for a small sedan. Drive this and the Model 3. Go drive an Ioniq 5N, which is an absolute blast. Go drive an Ioniq 6. Go drive an EV6. Go check those out too. There's a lot more in the segment emerging. I know that technically the EV6 and the Ioniq 5 are little SUV crossover things, but they are similar in feel, and the N variant of the Ioniq 5 is an absolute ripper. And frankly, I think if you are coming at this as a pure EV driver, you will have a lot more fun in the Ioniq 5N. But this, if you really enjoy the refinement, the feeling, you know, the solidity of this, the feeling inside of a BMW that there's something engineered very heavily about this, it does a great job at that. It's a car that I think you can get in and you can trust because you know just how much effort they put into it. So despite the drawbacks, like back here, despite the tunnel being in there, despite back seats I literally had to cram myself into, despite issues around the platform itself and the compromises that they had to make in terms of packaging and the way that they've integrated things, it's still really good for what it is, and the advantages of that make this car something that you can immediately get in and understand in a familiar way. It's gonna feel like home to you if you're coming from an internal combustion car. And I think for a lot of people, as we're looking to increase EV adoption, that is the mission of ChargedUp after all, is to get more people in EVs, and it's a reason why I'm going to recommend it to you right now. This is a great way to get into electric cars, and to do it in a way that won't pull you too far out of your comfort zone. But if you don't mind getting out of your comfort zone, there are better options. Anyways, thanks for watching. Appreciate you all. Next week, we got another one. I'm doing a car a week for the next 20 weeks. That's going to be interesting. So wish me luck, everybody. I'll see you on the flip side. Cheers.